Have you actually thought about studying in Russia? You sat down and then you were like, I want to go and study in Russia. Oh, there are a lot of Nigerians and Africans in Russia. Oh, the international community in Russia is growing, is getting bigger. And I'm hearing the tuition fee is affordable. People are posting pictures and videos and living their lives, earning money. There are downsides. Someone had told a 23-year-old Funto, I would have probably reconsidered studying in Russia. That's a lie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Funto. I'm a Nigerian living and studying in Moscow, Russia. This is my 4th year in Russia, and I've literally experienced the ups, the downs, the positive, the negative part of studying and living in Moscow, Russia as an international student. If you are seeing my face for the first time, literally, welcome to the channel, welcome to the family. On my YouTube channel, I talk about everything living and studying in Russia and every single thing in between that space. But if you're a returning subscriber, I love you so much. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for always being supportive. Without further ado, let's get started with today's video. I'm gonna start with the first thing. I think personally, I actually had to talk to some of the international students that are my friends, and then I asked them what are the challenges they faced so far since they moved to Russia that people probably did not tell them about it. And the first one is the language issue. The language is actually one of the major problems, one of the major downsides of studying in Russia. Most of these universities do not offer English courses. Well, if I'm doing like a rough estimate, about 70-80% of Russian universities, maybe 85% on a rough estimate, study in Russian language. They have their courses in Russian medium, which makes it not so comfortable or so convenient for international students to come and study here. For example, my university has quite a number of English courses. Some universities do not. Even in my university, most of the PhD programs are not in English language. My department, for instance, this is the first time they are starting an English medium for their PhD program. My friend in international relations department also mentioned that their courses is in Russian, and this would have you most time have like an extra year. A master is 2 years, a PhD is 3 to 4 years, depending on what course you're studying. A bachelor's program is like 4 years or 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, depending on the course you're studying. But if you have to get yourself immersed into the society, into the community, because the trick is studying in Russian medium is actually always very cheaper than studying in English medium. I said that. You can actually clarify yourself. You have to do a prep year, a 1-year language program, which means if your bachelor program is 4 years, you're going to be spending 5 years in Russia. If your master program is 2 years, you're going to be spending 3 years in Russia. If your PhD program is 3-4 years, you're going to be spending 4 or 5 years in Moscow or in Russia, whatever city you're in. And I'm like, are people really ready for this? Some people are not ready, especially those that pay their tuition fee themselves. Like that's like another burden, financial burden on them. And I'm like, that's true, because I did not do prep year, mainly because I wasn't on scholarship and I could not afford to put that financial burden on my sponsors at the end of the day. That's one major challenge that we face here in Russia as international students, the language barrier and the limited English medium programs that we have. The second thing I want to talk about is academic rigor. And let me tell you something about the Russian academic system. It can be very easy, but at the same time, it can be very rigorous. It depends on your ability to comprehend, your ability to learn and all of that. But it's quite rigorous to study in Russia. And also, I think because of the clause that is attached to finishing or graduating with a distinction, not even first class now, because you can finish with a first class and not necessarily with a distinction. So if there's a clause, if you finish with distinction in Russia, you automatically get the permanent residence permit card, right? And obviously they will not let it come so cheap. They will not let it come like so easy. The academic system is very rigorous that some schools you cannot even work and study at the same time. Even though it's allowed, but the academic responsibility you have in that school will not even entertain any other side deal like work or social life. And it's something the international student community is probably like, this is getting to me, this is a big challenge to me, this is a big challenge for me, I can't deal with this. I feel like if someone had told me earlier, I probably do you get? But it's very rigorous, especially those that studied in Russian medium. Like I mentioned, if you're studying in Russian medium, it's even more complicated, because what they teach you during PADFAC, which is like the preparatory year, the language course year, and the pace at which they take it when you start studying full-time, your own particular course, is not the same. Very fast-paced, and it's something people find challenging as well. I've seen people have carryovers, I've seen people rewrite exams, I've seen people being expelled from Russia because they could not cope with the academic rigor we have in Russia. It's something that it's like, for me, when people write me and say, oh, they want me to suggest universities to them to study, I ask them 2 questions. Oh, what do you want to come and do in Russia? They tell me, oh, I want to come and study. And then I ask them again, are you coming to study, or you're coming to study, make money, and jackpot at the end of the day? The response you give me to this second question will determine what university I recommend to you. If you want to come here to study, and you want like, oh yeah, I finished, you want to brag, I'm like, oh yeah, I finished from this school, and you want to be respected, I have schools I'm going to recommend for you. But if you're telling me, oh, I want to study so I can get the foreign certificate, but I want to enjoy my life, or have this social life, or I want to make money so that I can ball or migrate afterwards, I have some schools I can recommend to you. Because truth be told, they are not the same academic rigor. HSE, for example, is not a school that you can mix pleasure and academics and whatever with together. That's something I think I need to also mention. The third downside of studying in Russia as an international student would be the security and the geopolitical crisis that's going on. And someone reached out to me on Instagram lately, and she goes, oh, I want to come and study in Russia, recommend schools for me. And the first thing I asked her was, why Russia? Sis, did you make your research? Are you aware that we are fighting? The whole world is against us. Are you aware? If we are being honest, it is not impossible to ignore the fact that the whole world right now is against us. It's not impossible to ignore right now that cities in Russia are being attacked. It is not impossible to overlook a lot of things. 1 minute you're hearing pa 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 everywhere. The next minute sometimes you live in fear because you're living here or because you're studying here. Not necessarily because anything is happening right in your region, but because you fear that things might escalate and they can start doing whatever they want to do, right? If you are told, Russian government in 2021 that, or in 2022 that, oh, Ukraine one day would attack Belgorod or Kursk, everybody will be like, don't joke with me, right? But we're experiencing it now. But I think the good part is, no matter how crazy he wants to act, there's always that boundary. I think that is where we find our security. That is where we find our safety. There's what going on. You might want to be like, I don't want to go there, just in case you are not aware of what's going on in the world, and you are just this, oh, your daily lifestyle, your daily life, you're not familiar with whatever is going on. I just need to let you know right now that there's a geopolitical conflict, crisis going on in the world, and the whole world is against Russia. Let that prepare your mind. And with this, it just puts fear in the heart of the people, and then we are very conscious what to say, where to say it, when not to say it, where not to say it. You just need to you need to be very calculative on where in whatever you're doing. Do you understand? I think I just need to also add that I would not advise that you select schools or cities that are bordering Ukraine, for instance, right? Ukraine is in a mess right now. If you're even coming to study in Russia, do not select schools that border Ukraine. Also, I think cultural adjustment and discrimination is also a big challenge that international students in Russia are facing. Adjusting to new cultures can be very challenging, And it also makes it worse when you do not have people ahead of you, or maybe like you don't have friends that are already living in Russia for a while, maybe a year prior or 2 years prior. I think one of the major things that actually I'm very grateful for is that I had people here that literally held my hand all through the process. When I was coming, I met Joyce on Instagram before coming to Russia. So we've tried to build like a connection before coming, and her helping me to settle in was very helpful. I also had like Chris from my university I applied for a body system from my university, and Chris was the person that reached out to me. And since I came in 2021, she's been the best thing that I could actually ever ask for in Russia. You also need to be able to like find your footing when you know people here ahead of time. Honest truth about this is that you most likely are going to face discrimination. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be like, oh, there's not discrimination here. While it is possible that it's not common or it's not rampant in bigger cities like Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kazan, all those bigger cities, the probability that you experience this in smaller cities is very high. And I would just tell you that brace up. Prepare your mind. This is not your country. You're not the same skin color as them. So you need to prepare your mind and reorientate yourself and say, you know what? This is going to happen to me. When it happens, you're not caught like, oh, you're not caught off guard, right? And if it doesn't happen, be like, oh yeah, not much difference, you get. I think the last thing I actually even want to address that people also mention is the cost of living and the financial issues we're experiencing right now in Russia. For those living in bigger cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, I just need to tell you that it's quite expensive to live here. You breathe in one air like this, and you breathe out like you are breathing money. Do you understand? It's very expensive to live in Moscow. I don't know. I really do not know how people that are not working extra, like working outside of university, are surviving. A very valid question to myself. Oh, Oluwafunto, how did you survive during masters? Bruh, I did survive, and I don't know how. I would just say God backed me up during my master's program because I was jobless. And this comes together with the fact that life is very expensive here compared to like smaller cities. But it's not job. If you cannot speak Russian, it's going to be very difficult for you to get a job at first before you finally find your footing. If you're looking forward to working big organizations like the big four, IT companies, I could say if you are in the IT field, it's probably easier for you to work in the IT companies, in the bank, like front-end developers ish. It's not easy getting a job. And then when you not get an English teaching job, it's hard. It's an hassle. One person will tell you, oh, you're not speaking the right word, or you're not pronouncing well, oh this, oh that, oh you have accent, oh this. And there's no job security when it comes to teaching English. You might sign contracts, but these people will trust you like this, like at the snap of their finger. And these are like the challenges we face here as international students living in Russia. With the financial issue, if you're not aware, let me just brief you guys ahead of time. You are not able to use MasterCard here in Russia. When I came to Russia, you're able to use MasterCard. I was literally using my MasterCard to do every freaking thing I needed to do that had to do with international transaction. Even when I was broke with rubles and I had money in my dollar account, my domiciliary account, I was using the money to do others, like to make payments everywhere. And if I had dollars in my domiciliary account, I was able to use my GT bank card, that's my Naira domiciliary card, MasterCard, to withdraw from the ATM. But we can't do that anymore because of the sanctions, and you just can't use your card to do anything. Even if you are from the abroad and you come to Russia, you can't make transaction with your ATM card. One thing, we personally in Russia, we use the MIR card, the MIR card. It's not accepted in a lot of countries. If I'm going to link a video here where I spoke about my challenge at the duty-free shop in Qatar, where I was not able to use my Russian ATM card to make a payment for something I wanted to buy. It's a whole lot. If you do not know all of this prior to this video, I just need you to let you know that brace up. Literally prepare yourself mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, that Russia has its positive sides but as well as its downsides. And I just think I need to let people know about it. I think that's pretty much all I want to share about the downsides of living in Moscow, Russia. In Russia generally, actually. I would just say that do not be discouraged, right? We have 1,001 foreigners in this country. Do not be discouraged. I'm just going to say prepare ahead of time. Like I mentioned before, prepare ahead of time. If it's possible, start learning Russian ahead of time. Use Duolingo. Some countries, I know in Lagos there is a Russian school that they teach Russian language. Attend these language centers. Learn the way we have Alliance Française, we have like that in Lagos. I actually even know the people that are heading to school. So prepare ahead of time, save ahead of time, practice financial prudency ahead of time, so that you're able to save, you're able to figure and navigate life in Russia. Expect the worst, right? Do not think that, oh, the life is green on the other side of the world. Don't do that. Not all rosy, right? Always have at the back of your mind that every country you visit outside of your home country also have its own challenges that they are facing. It's not only Russia, it's not only your country, in this case Nigeria, that is having issues. Every other country across the globe also have like that internal issues that people do not talk about, right? But I do not want you to come and then you be like, oh, all we've seen on social media is that, oh, come and study in Russia, oh, it's cheap in Russia, oh, this, oh, that. If you want to take cute pictures, you're going to take enough of cute pictures. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to take a lot of cute pictures. The sky is always very good to take picture. I feel like I've spoken enough about this issue. And if you enjoyed this video, if you find this video useful, and then you'll be like, thank you for talking about this, please give this video a thumbs up, share this video, drop your comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what misconception you have about Russia, and I would be able to correct it in the comment section as well. With this, I say thank you and peace out. See you in my next video, guys.